Hello and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We provide fan-oriented and analytic discussions on a variety of animated shows, movies, and anime, currently featuring Steven Universe, Voltron Legendary Defender, Star vs. the Forces of Evil, and Ruby. I'm Justin Cummings, and today I'm joined by Delaney Stovall.
Hey, y'all.
So welcome, everyone, to our coverage of Season 2 of Voltron Legendary Defender. We'll be taking you through each episode of the season, 2 at a time per podcast, with a new podcast coming out about every other day. Dylan, Jeff, and maybe some others will join us for coverage later on. For now, it's just me and Delaney walking you through the first 2 episodes that dropped today. I'm presuming you're listening to this on Friday. It came out today, Season 2. Glad to be back. If you're new to our podcast, welcome. We cover all types of animated shows and movies here at Overly Animated, and we try to do so in a more in-depth way than anyone else out there. We're a branch out of a former Avatar: The Last Airbender and Legend of Korra podcast, and much of the creators and crew of the new Voltron worked on those shows, so we came in already big fans of the people behind Voltron Legendary Defender. So
The new Korra.
Yeah, the new Korra. Korra 2.0, as we like to call it. So, before we dive into the first 2 episodes, you can listen to this podcast, all our podcasts at overlyanimated.com, or by searching Overly Animated on iTunes or your favorite podcatcher, including Stitcher, which we all know I love. Before we dive into those episodes, we're going to talk a little bit about our Voltron backgrounds and what we thought of Season 1. Delaney, do you want me to go first?
Yep, go right ahead.
Okay. So, I am the resident mech fan at Overly Animated, it seems. I did a 4-part series before Voltron aired on various mech anime and mech tropes and where they came from. I haven't seen a lot of the old Voltron, but I know a lot about it, and I know a lot of its production history. And Season 1 overall I thought was good. It was really good. Very solid, very tight. It felt very much like a miniseries, and I'm very interested to see if they keep the same kind of tight pacing in this season, or if they kind of branch out a bit and slow down a little. Because Season 1 did feel very, very fast, and I'm wondering if Season 2 is going to follow in that pacing or relax a bit. What about you, Delaney?
Well, background. I have seen episodes of old Voltron, various, I can't really pinpoint, which series I've seen, but I've seen, bits and pieces. Mechs are fine. I don't really have any, expertise. My main kind of interaction with things like Voltron is, Power Rangers and Transformers, giant robots that beat things up, and they're, everyone has a color, right? So that's kind of oh, okay, it's like Power Rangers, we're cool. Season 1, I loved Season 1. Voltron's, I really like this show. I think Pidge is my child, and I will protect Pidge at all costs. But I do have some issues with Season 1. It's great. It is tight. It's a very solid series. They're not really doing anything unique. That's what I'm hoping for Season 2. Do some neat things. One of the great things that we love about Korra, we got the Korrasami ending, that was our major, if you listened to the old podcast from the Spirit World, and we talk about Korra all the time. I know on various podcasts that, that was one of the issues with Avatar: The Last Airbender. Where's that social spin? Where's the social impact of this universe? We got it in Korra. Is this crew gonna bring it to us? Are we gonna get it with Voltron? Are we gonna get Armleg? Are we gonna, Pidge? Perhaps. We're getting some stuff. We're not quite there yet, though. But,
before you go on, I do want to, I've been explicitly told to make a note. Armleg is our wonderful naming for the Keith Lance ship. It's also referred to as Clance, but we call it Armleg frequently, so if you are a new listener, that is what Delaney is referring to. She patented that ship name herself.
Armleg. I mean, we had to, come on. But, so, Season 1 is really great. It's solid. They take sci-fi tropes. They take the typical science fiction episode and they go for it. We're in space. We're doing cool things. But nothing's new, really. So I'm hoping kind of with Season 2 we're going to get into some new stuff. And also to start us off, I also have Jeff and Dylan's thoughts because they cannot be here with us today. And so first, with some entertainment, we'll start off with Dylan's thoughts on the first episode. The first episode reminded me of playing No Man's Sky. You're Shiro and enter this new planet, and you're all excited, but then you see it's this desolate wasteland with no flora, and to make matters worse, there's only one fauna, and it turns out to be this random purple tiger species that's trying to kill you. And why couldn't you just have been Pidge and gotten the nice puffball Skittles? But whatever, on to the next planet. Those are Dylan's comments. Oh, I get also spoilers for only episodes 1 and 2. Me and Justin have not seen any of the other episodes. It's really hard to do Netflix dumps, but we're doing 2 episodes per, so spoilers only for episodes 1 and 2 of season 2 currently.
Correct. All season 1 and the first 2 of season 2 are fair game. We have not even seen beyond that, and for this entire podcasting, we will not be watching ahead. So you can watch with us, you can go ahead, whatever, but we are staying with the podcast episodes.
And we can hear some Jeff's thoughts, which will spur some more discussion. We can come back to these later also, because there's some really neat things Jeff has in here. So, and again, these are only on episode 1. So, art direction made the derelict satellite installation look a bit too decrepit. Wasn't very believable that anything workable could be made out of those husks of machinery. I hadn't thought of that. Like, that's really neat, Jeff. We'll talk about that later. And then, Allura's plot was confusing and not very exciting. At first I thought they were traveling through different parallel universes, and that could have been interesting. When they got out of the wormhole, might they be in the wrong universe? I also thought about this. I thought at first it was the parallel universe thing.
Same.
And then, how would they get back? What happened instead didn't seem to follow any particular rules. Cran always gets younger, but then mice don't reverse age. They just take on some random shape. Yeah, that was weird. Allura maintains her memories somehow, which could have done with an explanation. Yeah, we could have done like alternate universe kind of stuff. And they just hit the reset button on that whole thing when the ship picks up a beacon, decides to fly towards it. Yeah, I felt it was like, okay, Cran's just in her arms. I guess it was just for that like fun bit.
I feel like we kind of had to expect they would do that, though.
Right, like, they could keep that, obviously. And Allura don't need a baby right now. Like, she's got some stuff to worry about. Like, leave her alone. And then, continuing with Jeff's thoughts, Keith's adventure finding Shiro was the most enjoyable part of the episode. This is interesting to me, because I, kind of low-key hate Keith, but I also kind of agree with this. He really seems to have undergone some character growth. I realize now that it's hard to tell when Jeff's talking and when Delaney's talking, but I feel like it's not that hard if you know me and you've heard Jeff. Jeff is very serious, and then there's, me saying things like low-key. But, okay, final thoughts. Zarkon's intimidation factor. Oh god, Jeff just sent me more thoughts. Jeff, why? Okay, Zarkon's intimidation factor went down a notch when he committed the supervillain faux pas of jumping to an incorrect conclusion and off with his heading the wrong subordinate based on incorrect and unsubstantiated reasoning. Hopefully the druids find out he's innocent before too much damage is done to him. Overall, a meh. And then, oh god.
Was that Jeff's words or your reaction to Jeff's words?
No, it's my reaction to, I get, this message, oh, I came up with more, and then, a paragraph from Jeff. So, okay, we can talk about, I can add more of this later. We can get going when it's relevant. I'll be like, Jeff said.
So, to keep everyone up to date, Jeff is on the ball right now. He is messaging Delaney more thoughts. He's messaging me about time scheduling. He is just on a roll right now.
This is very much y'all are how does the podcast work? Is it live? These just kind of behind the curtain moments.
These wonderful things that happen. As we try desperately to keep up.
Yes.
But either way, we are here. So let's start talking about the first episode of season 2, Across the Universe. That is the name of it, I believe.
I actually got I got confused because in season 1 they did kind of locations.
Yeah.
I thought that was the location.
Just across the universe. We're somewhere in space.
I mean, that kind of makes sense. They're lost. And I kind of got irritated later because I was why is it why I want something more specific, and I didn't realize it was the name of the episode. So that's Delaney's an idiot moment.
See, I read the title before I clicked on the episode.
Yeah. Delaney doesn't do that. She just clicks things. It's fine.
It's all good. This was quite the enjoyable watch for me because I was watching with my brother, who is 7 and did not watch season 1, and desperately trying to shush him long enough that I can write notes.
That's
while
rough.
He's very confused.
That's great.
Okay, so we start off, kind of recap of the end of season 1. The wormhole gets compromised, everyone splits up, the lions are gone, Keith is somewhere near Shiro-ish in the middle of nowhere. Pidge crashes on space junk. Corin and Allura run into the void, and then they run into the void, and then they run into the void.
Loop.
We're in a time loop, and yeah, why is Allura not affected? Is my question.
Because I guess the explanation for everything with Allura is just like she's all tan and like basically a goddess and can do whatever she wants.
That's a fair explanation. See, at first I didn't realize Corin was getting younger. Like, I didn't catch it the first time. I thought he was just like, battle Corin.
Well, yeah, I thought it was like more alternate universe. Like the first time it happens, it's kind of more like, oh, are we in like an alternate reality where like Corin is just this like battle bro? But I guess not.
And then he just slowly starts getting younger.
Yeah, that was weird.
And the mice changing, I didn't know how to feel about that because I liked it, but at the same time, it was kind of just strange.
Well, I guess maybe we can backtrack a little bit. Overall thoughts on episode 1, and then we can like jump back in.
You're right. I'm still relatively new to hosting, y'all. This is my first like episode review I think I've hosted, so bear with me. Dylan's the normal leader of the pack. He's the Shiro, and I'm the Keith that is now stepping in.
We got this.
So yeah, overall thoughts on episode 1. What'd you think, Delaney?
Well, I liked episode 1. It was a little bit boring, kind of in the middle, I guess. I'm always like, where's Pidge? Which that was like the more enjoyable parts of the episode for me, even though Pidge wasn't really doing much. Although I do think I agree with Jeff that the most enjoyable part really kind of, Keith isn't annoying, which is amazing because Keith is really irritating, to me at least, in season 1. And if you go back and listen, it's just Delaney like complaining about Keith constantly. And then Pidge also literally called Keith emo in this episode, which made me very happy. But, I do think that Keith's looking for Shiro, that kind of Shiro's hurt. It's not really unique or like super interesting, but it was good to watch, and there was definitely that sense of urgency. And of course, everyone on the internet's been like, "Are they gonna kill Shiro? We don't know." And like that kind of like they actually made it urgent. Sometimes we have some issues with that in our some of the shows. It's like having a fake sense of urgency. This was definitely like, "Is Shiro gonna die? We don't know."
Yeah, it was a good change of pace from what the show usually does. I like episodes like this where it's kind of, it's slow, but it still focuses in on our characters. And yeah, I liked Keith in this episode a lot. I thought he definitely showed that when push comes to shove, he can pull himself together and really do what needs to be done. And Pidge is just a shining star.
Of course. And Keith played it really smart this episode. He was doing some really clever things. Oh, that's another thing we need to talk about is like the water thing makes no sense. We'll talk about that more.
We'll get to that.
But overall, I like episode 1. I think I like episode 2 better.
Same.
So we'll talk about that more when we get to episode 2.
Which will be later on in this very episode, fans. Don't click away.
Woo!
So, Shiro gets, is hunting for Keith, because Keith, my notes make no sense. But Shiro's hurt. Bad. Is the point of that note that you're seeing. Yeah.
Oops.
Because it's been so long, because we binged all of season 1 in like a weekend.
Well, I mean, relatively speaking, this is kind of a quick season 2. I would say, especially for like a Netflix show.
True.
But I haven't rewatched. Delaney doesn't rewatch things unless it's Korra, so. But I think I do think that's a really good thing that they did in this episode, which it was a little bit weird when they did it in episode 2, but this is where we were when we ended, right before everyone split off, kind of a reminder.
I think it made sense in episode 2 just because it was like back to that moment and then where it diverged from where episode 1 went.
Right, because we didn't see them. We didn't see them at all.
Exactly. That kind of made sense, but if they do an episode 3, I'll be mad. Like, right, no, we're done with that now. We're done.
Yes.
But yeah, I literally wrote note, Pidge gets scared by big eyes, turns out to be little puffballs.
Cute little, I like Dylan calling them little
Skittles.
puffball Skittles. That's pretty accurate.
They are completely pointless. They are also one of my favorite things of the episode.
They're cute. I don't know. I'm okay with it. Well, my thing is like, if you're gonna do a sci-fi, this is kind of a thing you would talk about. Star Wars is getting better with this, and Doctor Who. If you're gonna have a sci-fi series and it's in space, let's have some fun aliens, y'all. Like, come on. I'll be interested to see if we name them. Because that's the big issue with, like, Star Wars and Doctor Who. It's like, oh, here's this random alien thing. But it's fine if they're casual aliens, too. Like, that's something that in The Force Awakens you have, like, all these different aliens just walking around in like, the cantina scene in that movie. But
Right. Which, little sidebar fun fact, that cantina music in Force Awakens was done by Lin-Manuel Miranda, the genius behind Hamilton, so there's just a little fun fact for you.
There you go,
It's
y'all.
an educational show.
Woo!
My notes literally say, Corian is now a bratty teenager.
He became, oh god, what's his name? Opal's brother. What's his name?
Oh, that is a great question that you're the Korra expert, so you should know this. Because I don't.
He just was literally him.
I can name you Opal's voice actress, I cannot name you her brother.
No, it's fine. I'll remember, or I can just Google it. It's fine. It's casual. But we can keep going.
They try to find the lions, then Little Corian's just like, blast it! Blast everything! Yeah!
Oh, it's Huon.
Yes.
Bam.
That brother.
Okay. He literally has an undercut.
Yes.
It's great. So good. I also have an undercut, so nice stuff.
Then Shiro finds I put dino-looking things. Dylan
they're
called
like
them
cats. I think they're like, I read in your notes that you put dinosaur, and I was like, they're kind of like lizard cats.
Lizard cat. Saber-toothed tiger-asaurus?
That works. I mean, they're definitely reptilian, but they act like cats. It's kind of
They're carnivorous. That's all I gathered.
Yep. No, they were like, Shiro looks tasty.
Then he gets trapped. And then Pidge makes fake everyone's, and the lion starts working.
Yep. Yes, that's basically what happened, yes.
I'm Corian, I have a mustache.
Yep. Well, I will say about the Pidge thing, Jeff's right, like, at first you get there and you're like, this is, like, jank, y'all. Like, everything is broken, none of this is good. But yet, Pidge is like, I'm just gonna make this satellite.
I feel like without a good power source like the lion, because the lions, yes, they're techie, but they also have a little bit of magic in there. I feel like they can kind of get away with parts magically working, because the lions are kind of magical.
I mean that makes sense. It's just kind of like the other stuff, kind of like expecting it to work.
Yeah.
But
well, it only worked because of the lion.
Yes, that's true. Well, I just like in general the other stuff. But yeah, I mean the magical lion also is like, that's fine. We can use that as long as we don't do magical lion stuff all the time.
Because then we're just Steven Universe.
Well, at least be true. But at least, like, in this case, Keith actually used the Black Line as opposed to the Black Line being like, I am here to rescue you. I am a autonomous robot magic line.
It's like, I love you, father. No, Keith is like, I'm piloting you now. And the lion's like, okay. So, what?
Jeff, this is what Jeff messaged me, and it's an alternate Pidge plot that's cooler than the Puff Skittles and scavenging. Instead, Pidge, I'm just gonna summarize this. Jeff uses, it's a giant paragraph, so I'm just gonna, summarize. But basically, instead, since it's like, oh, this is like scavengers and stuff, there has to be, good stuff here, Pidge picks up a signature, and the lion digs, and they find the Voyager 1 probe. And then that's what we attach to the lion, and then it's more believable, because it's, functional Earth tech, but ancient, because it's, busted alien tech, plus ancient Earth tech.
Yes.
I like that.
I do like that. It's
more history in the podcast.
It's a bit too earthy, but I like it. I doubt they would go that route.
No, obviously not. Where is Earth? At this point, who knows?
Across the universe?
True. Yep.
So, finally, Keith gets the Black Lion, pilots it to save Shiro, baby Corian. My notes are very
literal
sporadic.
infant.
All that's left is the mustache.
Well, I mean, to be fair, the episode, this kind of, your outline kind of reveals, in the episode it's very different. It doesn't feel that rushed, but we are kind of flashing back a lot. We have these, we actually have 3 plots. We have what's going on, in the time loop. Then we have, we would say the main plot of Shiro and Keith, but I think they kind of deal with all of them equally. We have Shiro and Keith. We'd maybe have to look if anyone out there is, doing time. I know we have listeners sometimes who for Ruby especially, it's which character was on screen the most. If anyone's paying attention to that, maybe, how did they split it up? Are Shiro and Keith on screen more? I'm not really sure. It kind of felt equal, but that can also do with pacing, and then also Pidge.
It did feel very well paced though. I felt like this episode felt very full and not rushed, even though they had so much to deal with.
Also, a way better premiere than the season 1 premiere. Like, I'm sorry, the season 1 premiere was so boring. It was like,
And it
why am I still gonna
dragged.
watch the show? Like, ugh.
You watched it
just
because
so
Dylan told you to.
Well, I mean, also, like, it's the new Korra. But
True.
basically, I mean, it was an hour and a half, and it was like, this is so boring. Well, I'm glad they did it, like, in one episode, I guess, because, like, if I had to watch 3 episodes of that, just no.
Yeah. But here we are with season 2, which had a much better premiere.
And it's way more exciting.
This was a good premiere, I thought.
Definitely, and, like, you know, what I really appreciate about this is that, unlike Ruby, anyway, gotta throw that shade, we are getting everyone back together in the first 2 episodes. Thank you.
Yeah, I like plots where everyone is split up, and I think had it been like the mid-season thing where we took like an episode, or like more episodes, that would have been fine. But as a season premiere, we kind of got to get the gang back together pretty quick.
Especially like where Pidge is, that would have gotten super boring.
Yeah, they would have had to do something to really keep that episode interesting, like flashbacks.
Well, they've done. This is pretty good for where they've put everyone, and then also using Pidge to find everyone's great because my child is doing things, and I love my child. But also, it just works better. We're getting everyone back together really fast. I mean, arguably, the really only super interesting plot, you know, on this separation adventure is Hunk and Lance.
Which is why it got its own episode.
Yes, so good stuff's going on. Quality. Just some good choices were made.
I think it also has to do with how long the season is, because it's only a 13-episode season.
Right.
While compared to something like Power Rangers, I remember very kind of infamously Mystic Force had like a very drawn-out arc of everyone being separated and just very slow.
No thanks.
And, well, they also had more episodes to deal with, though.
Right.
So I think, had this been like 40 episodes, you know, they could have done that. But they only have 13. They kind of gotta take care of stuff a little faster.
It's all good.
So everyone gets back to because Paige finds everyone, and it's like, yay, and Corin's an adult again, and then we have that one random line that's like really sad of, if I don't survive, I want you to lead Voltron.
Calm down, Shiro. Also, like, I knew this happened, but I didn't actually watch the trailer. It's not that I actively avoided the trailers, it's just I wasn't gonna go looking for them.
Yeah, I had the trailer shoved at me because I have like a couple of friends who are like, Voltron! And I'm like, okay, it's okay, guys. I'll watch it, I promise. Trust me, I'll watch it sooner than you will.
Yes. So, like, I knew this was coming, though, because, like, literally everyone on the internet has been screaming. So it kind of feels a little, I don't know, it's almost a little unearned. I mean, we're seeing him, like, hurt. But I guess we'll have to see. I mean, obviously I don't want Shiro to die. But it's like, I'm gonna make a prediction right here. Right now. This is hot take from Delaney. Delaney never says hot take. This is an exciting time. We can call this Delaney's first hot take. I think. And like someone's gonna go back and be like, Delaney said hot take in podcast
74.
Yeah, basically. But it'll be okay. And I think Shiro is not going to die in the next few episodes, and he's going to recover from this. But he's going to die later in the season because that's what they're going to do, this dramatic nonsense. So, like, when he dies later in the season, it's like, Keith, you have to lead Voltron. Ugh. Like, that's what it happens.
Yeah.
That would be the super dramatic nonsense that they should do if they're going to do this. Because if they say this and then Shiro doesn't die, like, that's kind of lame. Not that I really want, like, I love Shiro, don't kill Shiro. But, like, if we're going to, like, narratively, it has to make sense to be good.
I'm pretty sure it's Shiro. Minor spoilers for another very large show, The Walking Dead, but a lot of people are saying that Shiro is gonna not meet a good fate. It's like this voice actor is great at dying.
This voice actor is just...
He dies very well.
Oh, that's sad. What a typecast.
It is typecasting, but a lot of people are like, do it.
Do it.
It's like, you've already broken our hearts, just do it. So, Walking Dead fans, don't kill me, but yeah, he might die for that reason alone. And also, you know, there's a whole theory of he wasn't in the original show, and they're gonna replace him with the guy that was in the show, and the Japanese edits, and
No, Allura becomes... That's the only thing. If Shiro dies, I'm okay with it if Allura becomes a paladin.
It's revealed that one of the mice is actually a prince.
Oh,
and
God.
he becomes the 5th member of Voltron.
We're writing fanfic live for you on the podcast.
We do this surprisingly often.
All the time.
Literally all the time.
And then we also...
Zarkon.
In the end of the episode, we're with the Gulra.
It's like, hey, our villains still exist, just in case you forgot.
Oh, well, I forgot.
And Zarkon's like, hey, you're bad, I hate you, die. You're the new commander, sir. And that was kind of it.
I also, forgot. I cannot remember their names at all.
Nope.
I'm like, who are you? If you go back and listen to the finale discussion, I'm still I don't know who these, I don't know. I can't, this is awful, but, with the Gulra, I'm I don't know, are you special? I don't know who you are. You all look the same. I couldn't tell. Because, there's Hagar, and then, we just didn't have enough time with, whoever to, this is who this person is, and, this is what they look like. I know he has, a little, sideburn kind of nonsense going on, but, it's just hard to, we didn't have enough time to, get used to him.
And now he's dead. Probably.
Well, I thought they didn't, I thought he wasn't the traitor.
I don't think I can't, do we really care about the Gulra is the issue of this show?
No.
We honestly don't care about the villains. They're just kind of a big evil space MacGuffin at this point.
It's true.
Which, maybe eventually they'll have stronger villains, but for now, that's kind of all we have.
Yeah. They're okay. Maybe they'll do something interesting with the plot.
Yeah, I hope so. But either way, episode 2, which we both agree was much better.
Yes. Woo!
Woo.
So much better. Was it the depths? How dramatic.
Depths. Which, no, that was not the location, Delaney. In case you were curious. I mean, that's also a fitting location. That actually, you make a good point. That does also work for the location title.
They're trying to confuse me. We'll have to see about episode 3. I'm just so confused. And I am notorious. I don't look at episode titles. This is also Steven Universe. I try not to, look at things. And then I'm oh.
That happened.
Yep.
So, finally we see what happened to poor Hunk and Lance. And I really enjoyed their opening, dialogue, where Hunk's already making the puns.
Yes, even though I'm a firm hater of puns.
But I make puns. Oh.
It's not like a personal attack. It's just I generally hate puns themselves.
I see.
It's okay.
Ow.
All my friends make puns. It makes you feel better. Literally, my girlfriend makes puns constantly to torment me, so it's fine.
Does that mean I'm a friend?
Yes, Justin.
Yay!
Woo!
Woo! Overly animated, making friendships since 2015. 15? When did we start?
I don't. 2015. Cora, ended in 2014, and then, yeah, that sounds right.
And then we were born from the ashes of the internet.
Oh, God.
There's a mermaid.
There is a mermaid. Oh, that was the thing. I was of course there has to be a lady if it's Lance. I'm still here for arm leg, but shocker, it's a lady that leads Lance astray.
And Lance is just... he's not smart. He's I'm gonna marry the mermaid! Which, future Mrs. Blue Lion might be one of my favorite lines ever.
That's pretty good.
But, how are you going to marry the aquatic creature, Lance? How do you plan on sharing time between families on Christmas with the underwater? Lance, you're not smart.
No, exactly. I was she's a mermaid. Do you understand that she's a mermaid?
I know you said she's a mermaid, but do you truly grasp that she is a mermaid, Lance?
Granted,
she's not your species.
This is more evidence that, to me anyway, that Lance is more like a Jack Harkness omnisexual. Because we're seeing these different species, and Lance is hey, so it's now if we could just do this and it's not necessarily... And if we can do it in a way that's not annoying, like the joke that's later in the episode, where Lance is oh yeah, the dancer, and then it's not a lady specifically or whatever, and he's oh. It's if we could do that and not be irritating about it, and more Lance could perhaps also dude aliens and dudes in general.
Well,
that'd be great.
With the dancer thing, it's not just that it wasn't a lady, it was an octopus.
Yeah.
Had it been a dude and Lance had that reaction, that would have been a bit
No, that would have been Well, that would, depending on Lance's reaction, that would have been, like, worse how they played it.
Exactly. But it's like an octopus is clearly absurd.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, it's not as bad as it could, like, you get the not as bad as it could have been award. Woo!
Woo! So then, yeah, they find Mermaid Land. I don't know if we ever named this place, but let's call it Mermaid Land.
Yeah, I don't think, they just talk about the Baku Garden, like, they're just like, it's Atlantis,
everyone
basically.
Is safe and warm.
God, as soon as she said that twice, like, my girlfriend was in the room with me, and I was like, this isn't good. I was like, they're all gonna die. This is no bueno right here. Bad stuff. Like, this is so, like, obviously, like, we got some brainwash, awful nonsense going on.
Yeah, the moment I heard the second time, my mom goes, she said that twice. That means she's evil.
Right, no, right? Like, that's so accurate.
And I'm like Lao guy, no. I know where this goes. I've seen this. No.
Like, I've seen this before. This does not lead anywhere good.
The other line that tipped me off that something bad was happening was, Queen Luxia knows all.
Yeah, no, that's never good. I think that was the first time when she said that, I looked at my girlfriend and was like, no.
Yeah.
It's not good.
This episode got dark. Like, with the Baku, this got dark.
No, for real, like, that got, like, oh man, like, no, we're delving into some, there was some stress.
There was some murder in this episode, and some sacrifice.
There was a lot of also implied murder, like, jeez.
Hundreds.
No thanks.
So yeah, the Baku Garden keeps everyone safe and warm.
Terrifying.
And then the octopus hypnotizes Hunk, which I guess it was actually the food, not the octopus, but I think the octopus kind of helped. Well,
that was a really good trick, because, I thought it, like, when you're led that the whole time, and then really you don't figure out, I mean, even at the end when it's the garden, you're not really thinking, oh, it's the food.
Yeah.
Because they have that one line in the beginning where, like, we get everything from the Baku Garden.
Yeah, which, now makes sense, but...
Right. Interesting. Also it's like, it's kind of interesting, like, Hunk's kind of the hero, of this episode, a little bit, he figures it out. I mean, Lance too, but, like, it's not like Lance doesn't really do anything, TBH. But
Lance just kind of happened to be kidnapped.
Yes, it's just because Hunk couldn't fit through the hole.
Yes.
Which, we should talk about that more in a minute, because it's, like, hilarious, and, like, they did it so well, anyway.
Yeah.
Hunk, it's about food, and Hunk figures it out, which, like, I like, but I'm also like, let's let Hunk figure things out that aren't related to food.
True. Hey, he had his big shining moment last season where they were with the mining people, and Hunk was, like, the hero.
This is true.
Hunk is better than he could be, definitely. He gets the
definitely.
not as bad as it could be award.
And they have a lot less of him being, like, kind of a little cow, like, whine. They don't do the whiny, like, baby Hunk that they did a lot in season 1. They had, like, the one vomit joke, which, like, is this gonna be a thing? Like, does this have to keep happening? Like, does Hunk have to throw up in every episode? Is that necessary?
I did actually like it this time, because it was like, well, you would too if this happened to you, and it did!
No, that's so good.
Like, that was well executed.
And they fast-forwarded through the, Lance is like, you're gonna be here all alone, by yourself, and in the dark, in a line that doesn't work, and Hunk, like, immediately swims out. Like, that was good.
Yeah. I thought that whole dialogue was just great. Like, they're very funny together. They make a good pairing.
Well, it's also, this is kind of a dynamic we haven't seen in a while, because, not because literally we haven't watched Voltron in a while, but, once we had the team together, we got some new dynamics, a lot of Lance, Keith, Pidge, Shiro, but, this is the original dynamic, Hunk and Lance.
Yes. I forgot that, but yes.
It's good stuff.
It's glad to have the OG team back together.
Now we just gotta, like, get Pidge. Get my small child in there.
Well, your small child popped up at the end.
This is true.
So I literally wrote, they get kidnapped in their sleep, but Hunk gets left behind.
That was so good. Okay, like, during the episode, I wasn't thinking of this, but, like, right now, so, that's such a typical thing, like, oh, he's too fat, he doesn't fit, we have to break it, or whatever. Like, no. They left him. They had to leave him. That never happens. That's so funny.
Yeah, and it led to the entire plot of the episode.
And so, like, it's kind of one of those, like, like, you're like, if they hadn't done this, the entire Harry Potter books wouldn't have happened, dumb stuff like that. Like, they did this. Good job.
It's like, attaboy. And then,
it's like, the mechanism is kind of like, we're making fun of, like, Hunk's, like, body type. Which, considering the other things they do with Hunk, it's, like, not so great. But, like, it's not like, it's still an interesting thing that they did.
Yeah, and it wasn't, like, offensive. It was just, like, it was more an issue of, like, practicality of, we
Right.
underestimated, now we're stuck. We're horrible kidnappers, as opposed to, he needs
Yeah.
to lay off the Baku food and
They didn't have a comment like that. It was just like, leave him.
Yeah. And then the kidnappers break the mind swishing. Which mind swishing might be my favorite word.
Yes. Mind swishing. That's pretty good. Oh, no, my favorite word is your merlion.
Which I think eventually they said mercat. Yeah, mercat.
No, that was the mercat. That's my favorite takeaway from this episode. The mercat. So
More
funny.
than mind swishing, really.
No,
I
mercat.
love mind swishing. So the cave dwellers, they try to get Lance to stop the queen, and then he gets caught immediately.
Well, it's can we talk about like the background? Like, we have to find him a jellyfish to put on his head.
Yes.
That was so, like, it was so funny. And then, like, that entire sequence is so weird, but also amazing.
I love the cave dwellers so much with their jellyfish heads.
And I'm so glad we got the payoff at the end, even though I didn't really like the reasoning for it when I can't remember their names, but when one of them took off, the jellyfish, because the whole time I was like, I'm trying to figure out, I'm like, how the jellyfish worked, because, like, you had, like, the thing that looked like their mouths and, like, their eyeballs, and I'm still like, this isn't their eyeballs. Like, this isn't them. I'm confused.
And then we actually see it's a normal merperson.
Yeah, we had the payoff. Like, it was payoff. It was good stuff. And then also, like, the measuring, and, like, they had some weird unit that was really good. Like, I love stuff like that. Like, that is quality. I think we had, like, a 20-minute discussion on one of the podcasts because somebody said second in one of the episodes, and we were like, no. But this is good. You know, we had, like, weird units, and she's just in the background like, oh, I don't know if this one will fit. That was so good.
You had a 20-minute discussion on the use of the word second.
Basically, yeah.
Was this just you and Dylan, or was Jeff there too?
I don't remember. Jeff might have been there. A lot of the podcasts were just me and Dylan when we did season 1, because it was, like, me and Dylan marathon, like...
Because I feel like Jeff would have, like, legitimate contributions, but I feel like Dylan would just be like, you're wrong, science, units...
That's usually how it works, yes.
I'm terrified of that, but okay.
It was fine.
So Lance gets caught immediately, though.
Like, of course, like, Lance is like, also, he went, like, immediately for the lion. Like, yeah. Lance.
I'm just gonna go get my lion.
I enjoyed, though, that they kept the swelling on his face for, like, a long time.
Yeah.
Like, I know these are just, like, little dumb things. It's like, why is Delaney so fixated on all these details? But that was a good thing.
She just is, listeners, she just is fixated on the tiny dumb things.
Just the little things, always.
Yeah. So then we see Hunk fighting for the queen, which I thought that was a really cool fight scene.
It's like servant, and then Hunk, and I was like really dramatic.
Yeah, I thought that was a bit rushed, but still a good scene.
I mean, it works and it, like, makes sense. We also kind of like, skimmed over it a little bit, but, you know, the scene where Hunk wakes up, and he's like, what? And then they're like, just eat, and be happy.
Safe and warm.
Yeah, God, just, no.
I'm gonna be doing that, like, forever now. Just every time I want to slightly creep you out, just safe and warm.
No, that works, yep. That would, not quickest way to do it, like, just immediately.
Sounds good. So, we get, Hunk just, he's like, we gotta find Lance. No, just eat. No, we don't have to find Lance. And then, finally, we get the big fight scene, and Lance frees him with I love the antidote fish. Like, that was the little fish bombs.
It's so dumb looking, and, like, it's just, like, falling around. That was fun. Oh, and also, so in that scene where it's Lance, like, when Hunk's like, where's Lance? They're just like, eat. She sends, I can't remember her name. It starts with an F, right? Yeah,
like Florina or something like that. Yeah,
she sends her to the Baku Garden.
And she dies.
Like, that was so, like, what? This is the part of the episode where it's like, oh man, this is like, oh geez. I think they had maybe had reference before that, like, people get sent to the Baku Garden.
And then they never come back, yeah.
Yeah, no, and then they had said, they had said that, like, hundreds of more people had been disappearing.
I expected, like, a puppet master thing from Avatar where, like, we find them all safe under the cave and then we free them. No, they've been eaten.
They're all dead.
They're all dead.
Yeah, and that was the thing is like we have to now you go back like what did she say like when they're there? That was super weird. Like oh my I'm glad they showed that because I was like oh my god because at first you're like oh we just won't see her again like oh she died. No we have to have the scene where the queen is like go back and like we have to go back to like, it's one of those like go back into the earth or whatever kind of deals. And I was like this is scary and she just walks in
just like completely fine with it.
She got eaten, bro. No,
that was horrifying.
Yep. I mean, definitely one of like the most. Potentially this might be one of the most interesting episodes of Voltron.
It is like, definitely.
We like went dark real quick, like 0 to 60. This got creepy real fast.
Yeah, it took a turn. Like it went from being fun space adventure to everyone's dead.
Everyone's dead, and it's this like dragon thing eating people.
Yes. Yeah, what is the Baku? Like, I love its design, but what was it? Well,
it's interesting because, like, it's like, I guess it's some sort of camouflage because it's, like, all curled up and they thought it was a garden. Like, they grew things on it. And they would, like, harvest it or whatever, and then it would eat people.
Yes.
Like, it's like a dragon thing, but I'm just trying to figure out, like, is it like a lion turtle and there's, like, plants on it? Because, like, later when they're fighting it, it just looks like a dragon. It's like, how did you do that?
It's magical.
Granted, if it's mind controlling people, it could also just be influencing what they see.
True.
So, I don't know. I mean, it was, like, definitely really interesting, like, the design, and then when it's rising up, and then it's like, it's a dragon. I mean, I think it's a dragon. It looks like, it's like a sea serpent to me.
Yeah. So, they get to the lions, and that's when they're like, wait a minute, the queen's not evil. The Baku is evil, and it's alive, and it's going to kill everyone.
That went really fast, but I think it was fine. Like, it didn't bother me. It was just I was afraid it's going to be one of those, they're not going to let her talk. I'm like, shut up, let her talk.
Yeah, and then she explained, and they're like, oh, we get it.
LOL. Well, it's also kind of funny because, like, the cave dwellers have been, like, wrong the whole time, so it's pretty funny, because, like, they have all these ridiculous, like, when they were showing Lance the drawings, it was just hilarious.
Her stare.
Yeah, no. And it's like, oh, and she has, like, and it looks into, like, whatever, like, they had, like, made-up science, like, it was really good.
And then the blue lion gets, like, the sonic boom power, which, have we seen that before? I don't think so.
No, we were waiting, I think that was one of the things, like, we've been waiting on Lance to get his new power.
And there it goes.
Because, like, he'd gotten, like, we knew he had the ice, but then, like, he didn't have, like, a new weapon.
Yeah.
Like, I remember this discussion. I don't remember, like, all the details. Again, it's been a while. We'll have to see all the other weapons kind of, like...
in use.
Yeah, but I know, like... I mean, the Red Lion had, like, a sword, and it was like, holy crap. And then Hunk's, like... I can't remember what Hunk's does. It has to do with, like... Well, granted, Hunk's lion's also really strong, which is, we see when he pushes over the rock.
Yeah.
So we have some... And then Pidge is just, like... messing with the lion, just... tinkering with it all the time. So I was really excited about the weapon. That's always, and I like that we did it kind of, this is a new thing. We're going to do it in the, in the premiere. That's really great. Yeah. It's really good stuff. And like, yeah, Sonic Boom. We haven't seen that before, I'm pretty sure. No. And if we have commenters, please be like, you're wrong.
Which frequently we are. It happens.
Yeah, so it's fine. Go ahead. It's cool.
And then Pidge shows up and the day is saved thanks to Pidge.
I really like that. It was a really good mechanism, and also because it's my child. But it makes a lot of sense. And also, like, the really dramatic, like, the lion is floating.
Yeah.
It's another meerkat. That cracked me up so bad. That was so funny.
And then it's over, and, like, now the whole gang's back together, and we're ready to do stuff.
Well, I guess the beacon was kind of rushed. Like, oh, we have this beacon. We've had this beacon the whole time, but we didn't tell you. We actually have technology. It's just because that was a little bit rushed. The explanation that the reason the village is the way it is and they've been kind of isolated is because of the Baku and how long it's been controlling them.
Yeah. Like, that felt a little bit too Deus Ex Machina.
Well, it will just, like, they didn't give a lot of room to breathe. Like, I think if they had, like, let that breathe a little bit more, that this is really an advanced civilization. We didn't really see a lot of that. And, like, they used to, like, communicate. She has that line where she's like, we can communicate with the stars again, with...
Yeah.
But, yeah, that was a little bit rushed. But it wasn't, like, awful. Like, it was fine.
Yeah, that's episodes 1 and 2. We will be back with 3 and 4 soon enough. We will be recording that in a few hours. Thank you everyone for listening. You can review us on iTunes, rank us on Stitcher. We love stuff like that. It really helps out. If you want to support us financially, you can do so via Patreon at patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thank you so much to all our current patrons, especially our patron of the podcast, Rachel, aka Rachel Rose. If you want your own nickname and to be read on the podcast, you can just become a patron. It's really easy, and you get access to some podcasts early. Probably some of these Voltron podcasts will be early for our patrons.
We have a Facebook group, patron-exclusive Facebook group. You get to chat with us if that interests you at all.
Plus monthly live streams, which are always interesting.
Ooh, sometimes we play games. It's usually us, being mean to Dylan, but it's fine.
Being mean to Dylan? It's Dylan being mean to me while I hide behind a stuffed animal. What are you talking about? If I'm home, I'm hiding behind a stuffed animal.
Well, Dylan is always mean to me, so,
Same.
There's no change.
Same. Again, for our new listeners, Dylan's the usual host, and he's kind of, passed the buck on this one while he's gone. He'll be joining us later, but for now, it seems I will be hosting, possibly Delaney. We might switch up, but thank you guys so much for listening. Anything you want to plug, Delaney, while we're here?
I think Voltron is our main concern currently.
Yeah.
I'm not. There will, I believe, other than our Voltron coverage, I do believe RWBY will be coming back. I don't know if there's a new RWBY this weekend or if it's next weekend, but we are covering RWBY and we are approaching the finale of RWBY, so stay tuned for coverage on that. Rooster Teeth doesn't tell, they're really bad about telling us when there's going to be an episode or not. A lot of times we don't know until the day before or sometimes the day of. But there will be RWBY coverage, so look out for that. You can subscribe to specific feeds. You can, I'm sure we'll be setting up, there probably is already a Voltron.
There already is a Voltron one, yeah.
Yep. So you can subscribe to, if you only care about Voltron and you're I don't care about Steven Universe or anything, you can just listen to Voltron. You can subscribe to, multiple feeds, whatever you want. We talk about a bunch of different shows and they are in their own feeds, so you don't have to listen to, all of them.
We need a miscellaneous feed at this point for everything else we do. Because we do a lot of random podcasts as well.
That's true.
And then I guess our next big thing after Voltron is going to be Steven, which Cartoon Network is officially calling it Steven Universe Out of This World. This is the title for the week of episodes we're getting on the 30th. We will be doing episode reviews for those. We know they leaked, but we will not be doing full episode reviews until they air. We've done spoiler reactions, but we will be doing our full episode reviews as per usual when they air, so don't worry about that.
Recorded, and they will be coming out as the Steven missile strike as it airs, and they will be spoiler free. So if you listen to the first one, there'll be no spoilers for the rest of the week. It'll be normal coverage. It's just they were pre-recorded, and if you forget, we tell you in basically every podcast. But they are coming.
And then apparently Michelle and I will do something soon
perhaps.
With that. Feedback or something. We frequently do those. Friday's free because they decided to double up on Monday, so we'll see. But thank you, everyone.
And Star. We haven't figured out quite how we're doing that. Star will be the next thing in February, because for some reason they're let's air every single episode of the rest of the season every day in February. Okay, thanks, Disney.
Really?
Yes.
So it's the February of Star.
Basically, yeah. It's
the younger sister of Summer of Steven.
Yes.
Well, that will be fun. I still have to get caught up on the first half of season 2.
Yeah, but in summary, so right now we're doing Voltron. There'll be Voltron. We'll be just hitting you constantly with the new Voltron, and then RWBY, which RWBY's about to wrap up Volume 4, and then but RWBY and Steven will be overlapping a little bit, and January 30th is the beginning of the new Steven Bomb, and then which is not this week but next week, and then after that, Star.
Whoa. And then beyond that, who knows? It's a new year. So, that's that. Thank you everyone so much for listening, and we'll see you all next time. Bye.
Bye.